I am live already, and we are just a few minutes out. Let me turn this. Maybe not. All right. Good evening, guys. This is Samuel F. Robinson, and tonight on Get AI Keys, we're gonna have a raw talk. Today was a very interesting day. We had a conversation with David, the UTR guy, talking about his new AI software that literally picks up the phone and calls your prospects for you and set the appointment. I recorded that interview, so I'm not going to go into much details about it on this uh, tonight. What I am going to do is I'm going to post it later. We're still going through the editing portions of it, and once that part is done, then I'll post it up in the chat. I'm going to have a conversation about it now. I also posted another video with a project that we talked about a few weeks ago, helping Alexander Henao start his YouTube channel. And so we posted his first video, and we're going to check to see how that one is going. In fact, I sent it over for it to be posted. I don't know if it's posted yet, but we're going to check that out uh, in the next few episodes. So, this channel is designed for entrepreneurs, business owners, those who looking to hyper growth their business, as well as individuals that are looking to transition from an executive role into an entrepreneurial role. We're going to talk about that mindset, what it takes. Tonight is all real talk and about the interview with David. Now, I'm going to go over three things about this particular product. This is a this is a product that's more call based than show and tell. So there aren't any screens to share with you. It's simply a software. You set up the scripts, and then you upload your file with all the contacts that you want to contact, and you send this system out to do it. The amazing thing about this software, it can make several calls within the same time frame that you can make one. I'm looking forward to testing this out for myself because I just set a goal that by myself I find it may be impossible, but it's possible for most people. And that's because I don't speak so fast. I know I feel like I'm speaking fast now. You might differ. If you believe I'm speaking too fast, post a one in the comments. If you feel that I need to chop chop, then definitely post a two in the comment so I can double my speed. So let's get back to David and his Air software. This is an Air experience. Now, I had an opportunity to go through this software, and I got a simple text, and it asked me if I wanted to get more leads. Who doesn't? Do you want to get more leads for your business? In fact, what business are you in? Post that in the chat. And so I asked him about what that meant for an online retailer, somebody who sells print on demand products, artworks, services online, and then what that meant for the average service brick and mortar business consultant, real estate guru, somebody who really needs to just make an appointment. These are the things that I found out about the software. It had a female voice, and I guess you can change the voice to whatever you want. It also had time to relate. The prompts, even though from a programming side, I know that these are prompts, and someone on the other side of the screen is anticipating what you're going to say. It's listening for trigger words, and then it's going and responding based on those trigger words. What I did was intentionally say words that are out of context to try to trip it up a bit. And the response always came back great. So it kept the call positive. That's good in the sense that when you're speaking to somebody live, if they're not experienced to keep that call positive, they may react to you on the other end being a little annoyed, and that could kill the call, kill the possibility of you becoming a lead. So it did not get angry. It was on a roll and it stayed its course. The only objective was to have you book an appointment. What I liked about it, or second thing I liked about it, the AI stayed on the phone waiting for you to book your appointment. Now, seeing that it was AI, I just went through the motions and then let it know. Thirdly, because it's making so many calls at the same time and it's booking the appointment, if you don't have the capacity to receive those calls, get your calendar booked out, you might get overwhelmed really fast. One of the things that I looked at, wrapping up all 3 points. So, one, the software felt very live and user friendly. Two, it had the ability to make several calls at the same time. And three, it kept a positive outlook on the call. And so, putting all those three things together, I believe that this software is going to be a game changer. I am going to do some more research to see what else is out there. So far, I'm being told there's nothing else out there like this. However, we'll see. A lot of the companies that I looked at, you got a live person, and that live person made the calls. So it started out with a conversation via text, via chat, and then it transitioned to email. And then from the email, it attempted to get you to book a call. And if you can bypass that entire system and make it a phone call, then you just shorten your time. I had a customer and I said, I want to get ranked on Google My Biz and increase my callers that's coming in. If you had a tool that literally called for you, I believe it eliminates or reduce the need to be ranked in Google. This changes the playing field, and now you're able to compete on a whole different level. One of the things that I thought about in terms of those were the pros. One of the things that I thought about in terms of the cons, however, is what happens if everybody's using the same software and your phone is ringing off the hook. We all heard about spam calls, and none of us want spam calls. In fact, we'd rather pay for services in order not to get spam calls. I don't know about you, but I don't like spam calls. And when I get them, I actually have a setting on my phone to say this is a spam call, and then I can choose whether or not I want to entertain it. For someone who's not in business, it's easy to just ignore. But when you're in business, sometimes you don't know and you don't want to miss business, so you got to answer a call. And if you're in the middle of something and then it turns out to be a spam call, doesn't that just suck? Yeah. So for me, it does. And especially if it's something that I'm working to finish right away, I don't really want to have interruptions. Now, for you guys at home, chilling, sitting on the TV, sitting watching the TV, your phone rings and it's a spam call. That sucks. And it's right at that point in the movie where something spectacular was reaching the climax. This guy's going to get caught, and all of a sudden, the phone rings. That was one of the things that I was looking at. I was like, okay, well, one of the things to get around that is to ensure that the people that you're calling are not on the do not call list. So there are other softwares out there, websites that you can go and verify that information so that you don't get into trouble in calling somebody that doesn't want to be called. However, if you have an opt in page and that person is opting in to receive a call, receive a text, then that's completely different. At that point, it doesn't matter if they're on the do not call list, they opted in to receive a call. So, this is where the landing page, the sales funnels, the websites come in. I know I just mentioned three different things, and to you, it might be all the same thing. So, the website has various options on it. You can click the About Me, you can click the sales, you can click the service. That's the website. The landing page, it only has one purpose: grab your attention, get you to enter your information into the box. The landing page often leads to the funnel. The funnel is going through a series of steps, and the purpose of those steps is to get you to perform one clear call to action, whether it be purchase something, join a mailing list, something like that. And that's the difference between the three. One of the things I want to go over with you in terms of the other project, which I'm pretty excited about, it took a turn. So, Alex is an artist and he is passionate about drawing. He's been drawing all his life. He can sit down and draw you in 30 minutes or even less. He realized that he's a history buff, and I saw light bulbs and sparks go off when we started speaking about history. That's released that other video talking about time and putting a little humor into it. I believe that his channel is not going to be an art channel. It's going to be a history buff channel. That channel has actually been created. Now he needs to go through the process of creating his schedule and loading up his videos. I can see that he's pretty excited about that. He's not here tonight, but we will have him on again to talk about where he is in that journey and where we're going to go. Of course, the ultimate goal is make some money. And no matter which direction or which channel he ultimately decides on, that's the end goal: create some income. And so, in doing so, one of the things that I want to go over, slide those out of the way. We said that we're going to do some raw talk. And in that, let's talk about the mindset. When you're transitioning from a employee to a business owner, mindset becomes very important. This is key because you're accustomed to showing up with an application, sending it in, and they're going to tell you how much you're worth, and you're going to accept how much you're worth. You're going to start trading time for money, whether that's by salary or that's by hourly, you're still trading. And there's nothing wrong with that. I call that seed money. You need some seed money to get started. You become on like on a hamster wheel, and you get accustomed to showing up at a certain time, leaving at a certain time, and this creates that habit that you get accustomed to. If something should occur and you now find yourself without that paycheck, that could give you a shock to your system because your mindset only has this repetitive action to show up at work, and every, whether it be 2 weeks or at the end of the month, or they call it fortnight where you get paid once, twice a month, whatever that frequency, you've become accustomed to that. So that's on that part. Next thing about mindset is that when you go to school, they don't teach you to think, they teach you to become workers on an assembly line. And I know you doctors are probably saying, no, I have to think about the patient. No, you are in a situation where you're creating this repetition. Now, for a doctor, for a dentist, you are just above the employee, but still below the investor and still below the business owner. You're right there in the middle where we say that's self employed. You have your own practice. So you're practicing business, but you are the business. When it comes to, and we'll get into the actual part of what it takes to be an entrepreneur in a few. The other part about being an employee is that you don't have to think one, of course, safety on the job is important. So you're thinking about safety. All of that is prepared for you and put into a book that you read, you sign off on. The other part to that is that you don't have to take responsibility for running the business, for increasing revenue. Now, of course, you have those that have assigned roles to develop business, and that's a different aspect of it. Your role is to develop business. I met one lady who she works with battered women, and that's her function: develop new business, revenue for the organization. And that's a function, it's a job still. And she thinks about it as a job. And there's nothing wrong with that. So, mindset, you learn to think about relying on what the boss is going to tell you. You learn to accept what they say you're worth, even if you're unhappy with it. You still show up because you got to pay the bills. Let me tell you about the other side of that. As a business owner, as an entrepreneur, the mindset of security is slightly different. As an employee, you feel secure, but are you really? There are many individuals that you have the job and you get to rely on this check that comes in all the time. And you that makes you feel secure. There are many businesses going out of business, and you should see what this Christmas is going to look like, because a lot of the retailers won't be around to wish you a happy new year. We can talk about all the big retailers that are having trouble. Some of them, they don't really face you directly, but you look around your house and you'll see their labels. Those retailers are in trouble right now, and they may not last a year. One name notably comes back to mind. I don't have a pet. However, Petco is one of those companies that might be closing their doors forever. One of my favorite, the Container Store, is right there. They might not make it past Christmas either. A lot of people are banking on the holidays to boost their revenues. Unfortunately, they have dipped. In some companies, in 1 week, they've dipped 65% in revenue. I don't know if Christmas is going to bring that back up. Now, I say that not to scare you, just to put your mind in that frame. You're the employee in one of those businesses counting on the store. You look into the store, you see that the shelves are becoming more bare and bare, less things on the shelf, but you still have your paycheck, so you feel secure. That's a false sense of security. And I know last week we talked about people sending me messages, um, instead of going into the chat. So I checked it. We're good. So, false sense of security. Next thing is this: if you're not putting money down for a rainy day, I've seen a meme where Kevin Hart, he says, Every time I put money down for a rainy day, the next day it rains. It's important to keep putting money down for a rainy day. Invest in yourself, put that money aside. Look at it like this: every dollar that comes into your household, you're going to assign it a job. One job is to sustain you, another job is to go into the future and wait for you, another job is to go bring back money now with multiplication. Recently, I spoke at an event where I was acknowledging the vice mayor, and the scripture that I started my topic on was Genesis 1, verse 28. It talks about multiplication. If you've ever read that book, which is the word, multiplication takes place when you have a dollar, you send it to work, when it comes back, it's more than one. Don't be that person that puts your dollar into an account that doesn't earn interest, or worse. My grandfather had many properties. He literally owned like an entire neighborhood. And up on the years where he went blind and he was in his room, the lady assigned to take care of him found out that he had millions of dollars underneath the mattress. So she told him that there was ants in the bed and he needed to get out. So you're blind, you don't want to get bitten by ants, so he leaves the room. Nobody else is in the house. She gets away with a few $1 million. I say that to say this: that money was stagnant. It wasn't circulating. It wasn't making any money. It was just sitting there. Now, in his old age, he really didn't need it. But at the same time, you don't want to be in that position where your money's just stagnant. Also, you don't want to be in a position where every dollar that you earn is going out to sustain you. Because when your earning capacity changes, guess what happens to those bill collectors? They're not going to stop sending those bills. You still got to pay them. Now, my point is, send your money out to work. I'm not a financial advisor, but I would tell you that for me, I put my money in gold. I put my money in digital currencies. And you're hedging your bet against this uncertainty. When it comes on to business owners now, you're playing a different game. Your mindset is slightly different. As an employee, you do just enough not to get fired, and they pay you just enough so that you have to come back to work. When you transition to a business owner, the game changes. Now you work hard enough so that you can have the life you want. You work hard enough so that you can have what most people only dream of. Your mindset is trading value. And so now you're delivering value. My dad would always say, for every dollar that you want and need is in the hands of somebody else. And they would gladly give you that dollar when you give them something they value more. I took that one step further and I say, you find a want, and you find a want that needs to be filled on a regular basis. And you find that solution that's not you. If you're the solution, then you just bought a job. You create the solution that that you offer to them, and so now you've created passive income. In the Bible, they had a little boy that had some fishes and some bread, Jesus prayed over the bread, that and the fishes, and it multiplied. They fed 5,000 people. They had crumbs on the ground. We call that everlasting. The difference between eternal and everlasting is that eternal has no beginning and it has no end. Everlasting has a beginning, but it doesn't necessarily have an ending. That ending can change based on supply. So he fed all the people, and every imagine this. You put some loaves of bread in a basket, you put some fishes, and every time you took out a fish and a loaf of bread and you handed a piece, it automatically replenished itself. That's everlasting. You want your money to be everlasting. When you have a solution that is continually paying out, such as a course or a TV show or a music song or a movie, these things become everlasting. People keep watching it. Every time they watch it, it creates an income stream. This allows you to work a traditional job and take your time and transition into full time business ownership. There's nothing wrong with providing a product or service, and then that's it. The customer is happy. That's it. They bought one house. In another couple of years, they may find you to buy another house, and there's nothing wrong with that. But what I want you to understand is the difference between an employee mindset and a entrepreneurial mindset. Now, there are different levels of entrepreneurship. I'm not going to go into all those levels tonight, but you have the solopreneur, you have the intrapreneur, which is the same as being an employee, but you take on a different mindset. Now you're working to improve your boss. And so, in time, you take on the responsibility as if it's your business, but you don't have that responsibility. You just take it on. It's still his business. Then you have the investor. You send money to work. Then you have the big business owner. You put people to work. So, the solopreneur, you are the job, you are the business. If you're not putting your hands in people's mouth as a dentist, you're not getting paid. If you don't have a group of people doing the work, you're not leveraging. So this is key. Solopreneurs, they are being leveraged. They are the business. Entrepreneurs, they're leveraging others. Business owners, you're putting several groups of people and you're leveraging their efforts. As the investor, you're sending money to work and that money is coming back and multiplying back to you. Everything comes down to circulation and multiplication. If you find that you are trading and just adding, you're in the wrong business. With that said, that's my talk for tonight. I want to do a raw talk. And while we wait for my equipment to come back, I could show you some stuff. But tonight we went over David, the UTR guy, and his system, this AI system that does the calls. We went over an update with Alex and what he has going on in creating his YouTube channel that he's going to monetize. We talked about the difference between an employee and an entrepreneur. We broke down the different levels of a business owner. My name is Samuel F. Robinson. This is Get AI Keys. In our membership, our mastermind, our community, you've got to go to getaikeys.com, purchase that membership, invest in yourself, and that way we can have this same type of raw talk, this mastermind, and then we can deep dive into some of these applications even more and even interview some of the business owners including yourself. You have a business and your business is providing value for others. I want to interview you so that others can learn from you. And so, n- knowledge multiplied edifies everybody. Knowledge hidden, they say knowledge on ice. Well, if it's hidden, nobody's benefiting from it. And so collectively, we want to do that. And we'll have different levels where we'll have a small group. And with that group, we're going to do some big things. One of the things that we're working on right now, should I spill the beans? It's for nonprofits, I'll say that much. And it's for one of the other projects that we're working on is money for businesses. I call it buffer money. So we're putting together buffer money for businesses, but I won't spill too much about that. We'll talk about that on future episodes. Please feel free, buzz around the channel, watch some of the videos, make some comments. Let me know what you like, what you dislike. And as far as the tool, we'll go into that tool. I'm waiting on David to send me the link so I can post it in the in the show notes or the description down below. So I'm not going to do much editing. I'm waiting on that and then we'll post that. That's all we have for today. Remember, like, share, subscribe, and tell somebody. And it's time for me to be on the next Zoom.